What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button right down there. It's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. We appreciate your support and getting us this far. And if you haven't already, please join Unique Access. That helps us in many ways. And of course, you can pick up your Unique Access shirt, courtesy of the good folks at slangsmith.com. Now, today we have the honor and privilege of being joined yet again by Casual. Thank you for coming through, sir.
What's up? What's up? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Everything is good. So we had a long Hyro coin conversation last time, talking about fear itself on another segment. And today, I want to jump things off with your new song that you just put out recently, White Crown. So I have lots of questions about the song, but what was your main reason for lyrically wanting to take that approach?
Good question. And so for the people who don't know, I'm Casual of hieroglyphics, right? And so if people don't know what hieroglyphics are, it's the ancient writings in Kemet in Egypt on the temples and the tombs. And so as I got a little bit older, I actually started researching and learned how to read the hieroglyphs, the ancient name being the Medu Neter. And so publicly, I found myself looking for teachers on the internet. And the way that we look for free teaching sometimes is in refutation. I mean, we try to get people to say we're wrong publicly. Like, if you need a free class, you could just go say something publicly and 30 people going to come in the chat teaching you why you're wrong. You know what I mean? And so I took the approach of, okay, I'm learning. I don't really have too many authoritarians, and I'm going to publicly learn and see how that approach comes along. Well, I find myself in a community of people discussing similar information. And I always said I want to start rapping about this stuff, right? But it never really just merged naturally with my artistry. And I kind of feel like when you force teaching into your artistry, no disrespect to Chuck D, he did it well. He had certain, but I never wanted people to look at me like a teacher or preacher or nothing like that, like a Chuck G. So I had to wait till it merged with my artistry naturally, and here we come. The last 2 or 3 songs I've done been about knowledge, information pertaining to ancient civilizations, as we have this White Crown song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and White Crown is quite powerful. So everybody that hasn't checked it out, I would encourage you to do so. So with this Chuck D idea that you're mentioning, one thing that came to mind in a way with the White Crown, more so for me, was Boogie Down Productions with Why Is That or You Must Learn, because those are more specific things that tie directly into quote unquote specific stories or a lot of history, especially stuff that was going on in the Egypt and in the Mecca, different things in that region of the country or the world, excuse me. So that being said, not wanting to rush it, when you were hearing the Why Is That or You Must Learn or Early Public Enemy, given that you didn't go that route, how did that affect you or inspire you or make you think at the time in the 80s and early 90s when that stuff was coming out?
Well, they were my favorite artists. Particularly, I had a point in time where Public Enemy was my favorite, and I had a point in time where KRS was my favorite. But just like Too Short was my favorite, I didn't want to be like them. You know what I mean? I was getting all this stuff from them, but I didn't fit into their template, like when I was trying to fashion myself as a young artist. But what they left with me is that hip hop is a place where you can get knowledge, applicable knowledge, for your whatever, if it's your spiritual tradition, if it's your economic situation or whatever. I took that as a jewel. And then even when referencing guys like Too Short, I also learned that you can get certain type of street knowledge out of music as well. Well, then coming on to who I want to be, I always grab it. I just think I got a love of philosophy. That's why I like KRS, because we break down philosophy, the love of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? And he came out with my philosophy at an early age. So I was like, this right up my lane. You see what I mean? And so, but ultimately, it was just that it got to be some knowledge in it. But I don't want nobody in Oakland or the hood to look at me like Sharif from Menace to Society, basically. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I was reckoning with. Like, you know what I mean?
So that being said, though, let's look at both of those, sticking with Short for a minute. Because Too Short, I think, to me, is one of the best rappers ever. But beyond being one of the best rappers, he had City of Dope. He had It's Your Life. He had The Ghetto. He had Money in the Ghetto. He had I Want to Be Free, dealing with police brutality, social economic, all these things. So you want to be a gangster. So why, or did you look to Too Short totality, or were you more drawn to the Freaky Tales and Dope Fiend beat and that stuff?
Because I was in it. I'm born, bred, fed in Oakland, right? And so the real Too Short was all the negative stuff. See, when I'm no disrespect to Short, but when you looked at a record company came in, and I was on the same label, Jive Records, they was like, hold up, we got to clean this up a bit. And then we start hearing, okay, well, there are topics you could talk about, Short, that address everything you're talking about, but they're not coming off to people as negative. So we start hearing new songs, and this when I stopped liking Short, because I didn't look at him as a source for that type of inspiration. Like, I don't want to hear, we want to be free in the ghetto. No, I looked at you for a source of negative stuff, and no disrespect, but you know what I'm saying? So when he started talking about the ghetto, notice this is all one time frame in his life. And it was after dealing with Jive for a minute, and they was trying to clean it up. And then look what he did artistically. He said, that ain't working for me, really. I need to go back to my favorite word, which was what it was. And so I'm not trying to surmise his career. And if you see this Short, shout out to you. I know you made your own decisions, but this is how it appeared to me from outside looking in.
So that being said, on the same label was KRS-One. But let me ask you this though. Why, if Too Short to me with those songs, they're still great. So You Want to Be a Gangster is probably one of the later songs, because that was like on Shorty to Pimp. But those songs are high quality, even if they're not, like I said, they're not Freaky Tales, they're not Dope Fiend beat, they're not Cocktails, they're not the sex stuff. Why weren't you able to just listen to them for what they were as opposed to the other Short?
Because when we was digging in the crates and when we was trying to get authentic culture, your antennas go right up as a young Black man. Like, this ain't Show talking to me like if we in the hood right now. You see what I'm saying? We could tell somebody pulling the strings. I mean, just without being so bright, just it ain't hitting you ain't feeling it in your bones. You know, this stuff he's saying is true. Yeah, there's Money in the Ghetto. All these are good songs. We liked them. But when girls came around, you didn't play those songs either. You see what I mean? And so
did you like songs like In the Trunk?
Yeah, In the Trunk. But see, now we're talking about getting money economically in the hood in a way that others didn't understand it, because In the Trunk to other people meant getting your guns and stuff. But Short was breaking down like, while you in the studio, we in the trunk. So one, we getting played by the big woofers, the 415s and the speakers, as well as we're selling our product out of the trunk, which was some Bay Area independents. You felt that we in the trunk.
Okay, back to the Freddie B days. There you go.
You know what I'm saying? There you go. You on that West Coast hip hop.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay, that's just interesting, because obviously having a different listening thing, because I remember I Want to Be It's Your Life was the first Too Short song, and that's anti-drugs. City of Dope, anti-drugs.
Oh, no. Blowjob Betty. See, that's what we was talking about. Yeah, see, that's what I'm gonna know this, but that's what the kids was like. I want to hear this, or girl,
invasion of the flat booty bitches.
Yeah, exactly. So it was that culture but everything else fit right in with it. So maybe Short was wise enough to say, the kids want to hear some nonsense, and I'm a scoop the other stuff in there, but to be certified on the block, he had to spit it the way they was talking in the streets.
Okay. So before we come back to another Too Short question on the KRS-One, so when you were listening to Boogie Down Productions and you were on Jive, did you ever talk or interact with either KRS-One or Short about what they were saying?
Of course, Short, but not KRS-One. I didn't think he liked us that much. He did a few things, and you can go back and listen to some of his 1994, 95 lyrics, where he actually on a B-side said something we considered was a diss, because he did what artists don't, a disrespectful gesture, where in the Gavin one year, he was supposed to headline, you feel me? Soul's opening up for him, and he pulled the old KRS, I'm going on right now, in order to make everybody, oh, I just seen the headliner, time to go. You feel me? Now, that could have been me just being on some sensitive rapper, right? Then he released a song and said, the little dish show in the Frisco disco with something like a Nabisco cookie, you effing rookies. And so we was like, oh, he did that on purpose. And because, really the relationship at Jive wasn't so friendly, because we was saying we was the best and we was coming from the West Coast. So that probably had to rub him wrong. But he didn't know that one of our generals, at least me, was one of his biggest fans, you know what I'm saying? And so that's just how that turns out.
That's crazy. Because Short and KRS-One, I'd say, are two of my top 5 of all time favorite rappers. So it's just wild. Those two.
I would say that too, but a lot of people I could switch in and out of the top 5, but yeah, they will be in there.
Yeah. Okay. So back to White Crown and how this all relates. So the thing I also remember too is back in the day, soon after everybody from Hyro was leaving the major labels, Del was leaving Elektra, and you guys were leaving Jive. I remember Del was learning Japanese around this time, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what was going on with you? Did you ever talk to him about why he was into it, or what was your opinion of that?
I'll always be looking like Del be tripping. I'll be wishing he was focused on something else, and then a few years pass, and I'll be right in his footsteps. And so it's been like that since we was younger, because he's older than me, one, and I'm on his same path or trajectory. He just gets to some of the stuff first. And so while he was studying Japanese script, or what have we, kanji, whatever it's called, while he was studying the Japanese script, I was like, man, why are you doing that? We should be writing some albums. And he would be saying certain things to me that were coming from a Zen place of wisdom, like, I can't rap now, I need to get my life together. And I'll be like on some street, like, oh, he making me sick. You know what I'm saying? But then I've even reached those same similar places, understanding that in order to be raw, and particularly for others to perceive me as one that hasn't fell off, I can't lose my morale, the state of feeling good about myself as an artist, because that's what cats be hiding, but you can hear it in they whack new lyrics. They might be trying to shine, they might got some ice on, but their bars ain't what they used to be to you. You see what I'm saying? And to me, a lot of that is rooted in keeping your morale and working on your life outside of the artistry in order to still feel fly, because you can't really fake fly and make me get the impression like you hot shit. You got to be really feeling that. And when artists come around so confident, we get blown away and we get this impression like, oh, this is the man right here. And so I think it got a lot to do with our morale too.
Okay. So as you started learning the hieroglyphs and studying this stuff, what did you learn about yourself during this process?
Well, most honestly, about research methodology and how it can be applied in other places in my life. Once I started learning how to get to the bottom of things, meaning like if you Google something and you get the internet answer, most often that's just the general overview of a particular subject. But once you dive into the highly specialized material that some subjects have, these 1,000-page books, you start getting and you start seeing. But for me, it was that method that I was like, oh, I can apply this to my contracts, or I can apply this to everything and start rewriting my contracts and everything else, because I just learned a different method of pursuing or understanding or finding the truth, I would say, you know what I'm saying?
And then when you're doing that, how did that affect your writing of the song White Crown?
So yeah, I waited for some years. A lot of people was like, why you ain't rapping about the stuff you be talking about in your tweets all the time? And to me, I would have been robbing myself, because I don't think of my bars. They gotta pop up. And they gotta, just like Tesla was like, his inventions pop up. Right now, I don't write. I'll just turn on this mic and get to saying stuff. And if it get whacked, I press pause. So it's not like a freestyle like we used to just do it in one recording. My editorial process is now to capture the moment for as long as I can. And when it falls under my standard, I will stop and pick back up at that part. And so, well, I mean, just to speak towards the initial, well, I'm kind of like even losing, you know what I'm saying, what I'm explaining, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to start saying hella stuff that ain't answering the initial question, you know what I'm saying?
No, it's all good. But like, how did you find that as you were thinking or crafting or working on White Crown, the concept of it, how did this new way of studying, this new way of practicing?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Sorry. Because the bars just started popping up. That's what I was getting towards. You know what I mean? Like bars would be popping up in my head now. That's like Babylonian bars, Ugaritic spit it, get it. So that said a lot right there. And some people don't even know that's saying a lot. And that just popped up like a sentence. So I'm like, yes, now I can start doing it. Because when I'm forcing, I don't do none of that forced stuff. Like if somebody say, write a rap about this, I might turn my cheek if it don't naturally start fitting into my, my creativity. Because that's just how I do it. And you know, it helps me to stay more free with it. And so, yeah, stuff would just start appearing in my head. Even that whole flow, it was just coming together hella smooth. But the content was content that I've been immersed in my studies and by looking. So it's kind of like, you know, your environment eventually becomes your content, I guess, you know what I mean?
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.